The Valentine's Day Massacre is one of the most infamous crimes in American history and one of the most intriguing unsolved cases of the 20th century. On February 14, 1929, 7 men were brutally murdered in a garage on Chicago's north side in what was widely believed to be a mob hit. The victims were all members of George Morin's North Side Gang, and the murders were thought to be the work of Al Capone's South Side Gang. The story of the Valentine's Day Massacre begins in the 1920s during the height of Prohibition. Chicago was a city controlled by rival gangs, all vying for the control of the illegal alcohol trade. The North Side Gang led by George Morin and the South Side Gang led by Al Capone were the two most powerful gangs in the city. The North Side Gang controlled the bootlegging operations in the north, while the South Side Gang controlled the south. The tension between the two gangs had been building for years, and on Valentine's Day 1929 it came to a head. On that fateful day, 4 men dressed as police officers entered the garage on North Clark Street, where the North Side Gang was known to conduct their business. The men rounded up the 7 men inside and without warning opened fire. 6 of the men were killed instantly, while the 7th died later in the hospital. The victims were identified as Adam Heyer, Reinhard Schwimmer, John May, Albert Kachelek, Peter Gusenberg, Frank Gusenberg, and James Clark. The Valentine's Day Massacre shocked the nation and made headlines around the world. The brutal nature of the murders, as well as the fact that the killers were dressed as police officers, made it clear that this was not a random act of violence, but rather a well-planned and executed hit. The police investigation into the murders was plagued with corruption and setbacks, and no one was ever charged with the crime. However, the evidence strongly pointed to Al Capone and his South Side Gang. Capone was known to have a personal vendetta against George Morin, and the timing and execution of the murders was consistent with the modus operandi of the South Side Gang. The massacre was a significant event in the history of organized crime in the United States. It marked the end of the beer wars between the North Side Gang and the South Side Gang, which had been raging for several years. The massacre also solidified Al Capone's reputation as one of the most ruthless gangsters in American history. In addition, it brought national attention to the problem of organized crime and police corruption in Chicago, leading to the creation of the Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI) in 1935. In conclusion, the Valentine's Day Massacre remains one of the most intriguing and brutal unsolved crimes in American history. Despite the numerous investigations and theories, the truth behind the massacre has never been fully uncovered. However, it is widely accepted that Al Capone and the South Side Gang were behind the killings, as they had a personal vendetta against the North Side Gang, and the timing and execution of the murders was consistent with their methods. Today, the site of the Valentine's Day Massacre is a parking lot, but the legacy of the crime lives on through countless books, movies, and documentaries. The true story of what happened on that fateful day in 1929 may never be fully known, but the brutal murders of the North Side Gang will always be remembered as one of the most notorious crimes of the 20th century.